What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? How
Man,
you
it's
doing?
it's good to be here, man. We made it.
Yeah.
We traveled went to the heart of COVID,
Yep.
and we came out swinging.
Yeah. So far, so good, right? It feels good.
I'm just gonna say, feels good. No, so far. We wanted to feel good and keep feeling
Yes, of
good. Like we
course.
wanted to keep maintaining.
Yeah.
Uh,
It feels like we haven't done this show in almost 2 weeks, just because so much has happened since last Wednesday. Like as far as all the stuff that we've been doing,
oh my,
traveling, like you said, the con stuff. It feels like it's been 2 weeks.
yeah, man. This MegaCon was wild.
Hmm.
Like, whew,
What up, Lisa?
if you've never been
Lisa
to
knows.
MegaCon, yeah, Lisa, what up, Lisa? Because Lisa was out there, masked up, looking pretty with the family. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Got
saying?
it.
And we appreciate the support always, Lisa. Love you for it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also, like you
What's up, Amy?
coming through, showing some love. Appreciate you, baby. Um, man, yeah, like I said, it was a dope experience because it was my first time actually going to a MegaCon and being around a whole bunch of different people and and dope costumes.
Hmm.
Costumes was crazy. Like
Yep.
if you've never been to a MegaCon, man, you missing out. I listen, I would recommend, like my man say, be vaccinated or make sure or make sure you fully masked up and
Hmm.
and protective gear because the crowds, yo,
Huge.
look, this you would have thought Justin Bieber was performing. Telling you because the crowds was crazy. Like they like pandemic what? Pandemic who? Yeah, man. It was dope. It was an experience to be with all of y'all, man. Like
Yeah.
you, Vince, yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and just taking that energy in, man. Because I had a really really good time, man. How'd you feel
Hell
out?
yeah. No, I felt great, man. Honestly, like as I was driving home, like there was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of sad that I'm leaving right now. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh, that means to me that meant like that I had a good weekend. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, damn. And then I was like, all right, that's a sad that I could take. I could take that kind of sad.
Yeah, yeah. I listen. I can't wait to do it again. I'm gonna be honest. I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to go in there and be all dappered up in whatever costume I'm gonna come with. But we
It
got
does
to
make you want to dress up, right? Like
oh,
it
man,
may like you see it and
def-
you're like, man, I feel left out wearing these jeans.
Tyrone, promise me next time we do it, we gonna be, what I'm saying, cosplayed
Yes.
up, man. We gonna go the right way.
Oh
Like
yeah. Well, yeah.
he's like,
We'll do it. There'll be a lot more. Yeah, I'm working on some things that is going to have me, having a lot more time to dedicate to the things that I love. So, absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Costumes were awesome. You're right. Yo, so look, man, we back. Here at the multiverse, we talk about things that most people think about but don't talk about necessarily. And one of the topics we want to bring to the forefront today is interracial dating in 2021. Um, Tyrone, listen. I'm not that I can't, but
Hmm.
I'm going to in this very moment. I'm going to transfer the reins over to you, and I want you to tell me exactly what interracial dating has been for you in the past. Because and then I'll give some of my stories to the people and let them hear
Yeah.
something that I got going on.
No, absolutely. It's a weird thing because as you know, as you may know, and as everybody watching may know, I come from the product of an interracial relationship, black father, white mother. So that kind of informed my life right away. You know what I mean? Like that's the example you see at home. That's the kind of the way you grow up, and those things kind of carried on in life. I don't think it's any coincidence that when you look at my dating history, it's been mostly white women. I mean, I've have never actively been like, nah, I don't want to date this kind of girl, this, but it just has worked out that way, probably subconsciously, without realizing that there are forces pulling me in that direction. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's something that I explore a lot in my comedy. It's something that yeah is has definitely ended up in a lot of different and fun experiences. Um, it was like there have been some good stories. I don't know if we want to get into stories just yet, but there's some good stories around that kind of stuff. But it's it's a positive thing for me. I think interracial dating, just so I can say it, I think interracial dating is a very positive thing. I think everybody should just kind of love who they love. That's cool. As long as everybody's on board, everybody's consenting, love who you love. But yeah, there's definitely experiences that come with it. It's never not an issue when you're interracial dating. It's something that has to be addressed. It's something that has to be kind of cared for because especially as as everybody's learning more as a society and everybody's learning more as a culture, we're starting to kind of see the different roles that race has played in our lives without even knowing it. So we're starting to become more aware of that sort of stuff. So it's something that's got to be constantly addressed and constantly maintained.
Now, from the standpoint of your parents and how was there ever an expectation? You know what I'm saying? Because I know in some households, there's an expectation, even though, there's a black parent or a white parent or whatever the case may be. But it's almost like it depends on the environment you're raised in, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of where you lean toward at that point. Did you ever feel like that was maybe something that went on with your dating lifestyles?
I think, well, with as far as was there an expectation, my parents did a really good job of not, uh, you know, of making it so my brother and myself, we were open-minded and inclusive and not, not looking at any one group as though they're better than the next. That they did a good job there. My parents taught me really well, those sort of things. Now I'm sure that, again, there are those subconscious things that kind of get passed down. I don't know if I haven't sat down with my dad and asked him the reasons, why, in the time he was coming up, he was in his early 20s, why he chose to be with white women, because it's a totally different thing back when they got together. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They got together in the early 80s, late 70s. So, this is this stuff is, I mean, it's always fresh because we're in America, but like, you know, we're not very far removed at that moment, from the civil rights movement. You know what I mean? He was alive during that, and so was my mom. So it would be interesting to kind of hear some of his ideas, even though his ideas have been scrambled by a lot of interesting schools of thought lately. So maybe those wouldn't be so interesting, and they would get us kicked off Facebook forever.
yeah,
um but no, I think in my life, I think it just kind of showed up as you know because of the way that I am, and we talked about this the other night, kind of the vibe I give out. It's always just kind of pushed me in that direction. But
mhm.
yeah, but it was never. I don't think it was ever a conscious choice that I made, or kind of an expectation from anybody else.
Well, that's good. I mean,
Mhm,
because I I was raised in a household where it was never talked about either. You know what I'm saying? Race was
mhm,
never brought up. It was never a question of who um you wanted to date or who you should date
mhm.
or even dating at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like that wasn't even a concept until later in my teenage years. Um, but it seems as though I've seen an uptick since my age, since me being younger into now of more interracial dating.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more because we're crossing over into those same environments, or is it just because there's more of an acceptance of it now?
I think without a doubt, it's that there's more of an acceptance. That even though it may not seem like it, when we look at the way we are as a people, as a society, as a country,
Mhm.
um, it may not seem as though we've made a lot of strides because of all the difficulties we face today. I think there still has been a lot of progress, especially at like the individual level and the family level, and even at the community level sometimes, to where the idea of seeing an interracial couple is normalized or more normalized. If you ask any interracial couple, they're still going to get their looks. They're still going to deal with some family stuff probably, or some friend stuff, or my partner's this or that, doesn't believe in interracial dating, or that kind of thing. But those are usually kind of one-off situations. uh now I have I say that, but at the same time, like I've been on dating apps before where like, I'm scrolling through and like, maybe every like 5 or 6 pictures of a white girl that I saw, it's like, no, I don't date outside my race or, something like that. And you're like, all right, it's a pretty hard stop to start with. Makes me wonder about your, how you think and feel about people, period.
Yeah. Now this brings up another question. Like, now when you grow up and you're around different kids, do they start to make you feel like you're not white enough or you're not black enough, because you're both. So it's like,
Right.
what is the representation? How do I show that I'm black enough and how do I show that I'm white enough? And because as kids, we're all looking for acceptance, right?
Yeah.
We want to be a part of something. So what kind of problems and obstacles did you face coming up as a kid?
Well, here's something that I've always found fascinating about it is
Yeah.
that nobody's ever like, you're white. You know what I mean? Like even though I'm not black passing, I'm obviously not white looking at me. You know what I mean? So like people don't classify me as that. So being white was just never kind of an option. And to be honest, if I could have chosen it, I would not have, because sorry white people, but I wouldn't have chosen it. But being black was like the only other option that I had. And that's when this question comes into play, is like, am I black enough? And what do I have to do to be black enough? And what does that look like? What does it sound like? What does it dress like? What does it talk like? All that kind of stuff. That's something that was always, just kind of floating around in my head growing up. And then, getting into the dating world was the same. How do I present myself to, this person or that person? If I'm being me and being myself, is that going to be, too little black for a black girl, or is it going to be too much black for a white girl? That those things are, it sounds like such weird questions, but it's almost impossible not to feel that way. Or for me, it was. And I think if I were a couple shades darker or something, it might be a little bit different. If my hair looked a different way, it might be a little bit different. It might have been not such a kind of, I guess, radical kind of swing to that side. But yeah, it's always been a question. I still can't answer the question. I guess eventually I'm just like, or ultimately I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to be me, because I don't really have any other choice. And, be proud of who I am and just do my best and see what happens. And then, hopefully, if I become a famous whatever, win awards for something, and I'm like the first person to do something, I hope I'm the first like black person to do that thing. You feel me? Like like a Barack Obama situation. Like he was our first black president, but also like,
It's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, bro.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, but see, this is adult Tyrone speaking. See, young adolescent Tyrone, I think he was an intelligent kid, but yet he was a kid.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so at those moments where you're in those situations, because I know those moments, because I'm fair skinned. So that, like, when it comes to our community, a lot of times the melanin is the display of your blackness.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you have more melanin, you're more black than I am, and I'm somehow less black, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
This is not something that I agree with, or even that that I'm over here just telling you guys for the first that you're hearing for the first time. This is something that has been perpetuated in our community for a very, very long time, and I'm just addressing it.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't think your blackness is determined by your melanin. It's determined by your awareness. Like your awareness to your history, though, your awareness to your culture, the awareness to the energy that you possess and the power that you possess. These are things that manifest themselves at some point in your life. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the fact that as a child you're pulled one way or the other because you want to fit in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all dependent on your environment. So say little Tyrone is raised in, Newark, New Jersey, or the in Philadelphia, in the inner city, that Tyrone maybe becomes a different version of Tyrone than say Tyrone who was raised in a middle class family, you know what I'm saying, like in a decent neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, afforded all of the, you know what I mean? So
yeah, it was we were oh sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say it was I definitely grew up in very like diverse communities. We weren't very well to do at any point in my childhood. So, it was, a lot of more underprivileged communities. And growing up and when I started kind of getting my own identity and stuff, I definitely kind of skewed more towards Black culture. The way I dressed, the way I spoke, just kind of those things. I was pulled that way for sure. Like those were the choices that I was making. My wardrobe, the kind of way I presented myself and stuff. I was like, okay, this feels like the way that I should be. I identified with my Black side more than I did my white side. So, and, I was closer with my Black side of my family, when it comes to like my grandparents and cousins and second cousins and, family reunions and stuff, like very plugged into that side of my family. So it showed up more in my person in that way. But yeah, I think once I started kind of getting, I do think that I changed a bit for the professional world. I think as I was growing up, I understood that that in order to be a candidate for jobs, or in order to make sure that I'm getting the opportunities that I want to get, that I would have to present more white and not so much Black. It was a sad understanding to have to come to, but I did. And, that may or may not have helped me along in whatever career I had in in working for banks and stuff like that. But, I would say probably like my early adulthood is when I kind of just started to even it out a little bit more, for a certain thing. It's based code switching. I was code switching. But yeah, so as a kid, when things were a little more carefree, I definitely skewed more towards my Black side.
Okay. Yeah, man. And it's understandable. I mean, like that's the whole reason I was talking about this subject, is because it's one of those things that even I think now young kids still deal with the same issue of having to feel like they have to choose a side. Like you have to be, this way in order to be accepted by this side, or you have to be this way to be accepted on this side. And I think that's something that, needs to be addressed, because I mean, we have kids out here like that are, stressing about their sexuality and, how to come forward and be able to talk about those things. And these same issues are issues that these kids are dealing with now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things that really, for me, is a really touchy situation, because I know that I dealt with it for a long time just being light skinned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was always a question of, who, you are, you this or what are you that? What's you got to be something else, because you can't just be Black. You got to be, it always was that. So, I know that's an issue even to this day, because I hear it so often. Like that's a light skin privilege thing, or
right. Yeah,
that's a light skin issue, man. Y'all just say that because y'all pretty or pretty all of that kind of stuff like that.
Well, that's why it's one of the reasons I like to talk so candidly about it, and it's one of the reasons I address it so much in comedy, is because I think that that there are a lot more people than we can even imagine who have similar thoughts and similar struggles and deal with the same kind of issues. And then if it's not the issues that we're dealing with, it's an issue that at least kind of makes them feel maybe a little bit different, maybe a little bit on the outside of things or whatever else. And they can those people might be able to relate in a way, even though we might not share the same exact experience, they might be able to relate in a way that tells them, okay, like here's something that I'm dealing with that, you know, maybe some other people are dealing with that I could talk about freely and maybe, you know, help to understand myself better and, you know, maybe, you know, be more comfortable in my identity.
Yeah, I appreciate you for that, man. Just being, I mean, because this is what makes our show so good is the transparency and the ability to talk about things that are tough. Um,
Hmm.
but these are issues that we dealt with, and I'm sure there's other kids out there dealing with these same issues.
Oh
And
yeah.
this is brings us up to kind of the last point of this subject is, um, you know, do do these kids have to choose a side? That at some point, do you have to make a line in the sand and say, okay, I'm going to be this or I'm going to be that, or can you straddle the fence?
Yeah, I think it's tough to say, you know, because I don't think I ever chose a side, because I don't think I could convincingly, you know, pull off one or the other to be like to where I can just kind of completely forget one side of my you know, my identity. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And who knows? Maybe that's something that I can work towards, or am working towards to feel even more secure in that identity. But you know, I, you know, just to this question, I've been asked by kids as a kid. I was asked by kids, you know, they're like, what, you know, what are you? Is that anybody who looks like you or I look, and that we always get the what are you question.
Hmm.
And some when I would say black and white, I would sometimes get the question, well, what do you consider yourself? Which side do you, you know, which one do you choose? Like I had a kid tell me you got to choose a side, and I'm like, well, you know, at the time I was very very young, so the concept of like, you know, black and white being two different sides of something was a strange concept. I was just too young for it to really understand what that meant. So I was like, I don't think I have to choose, which I guess in that moment was probably the right answer. But I just, you know, that was my deflection at the time. I was like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So no. Uh, but it, you know, it's interesting. I wrote a joke about that specific instance where if I had to redo that again, I would have chosen black. And that's just being honest with myself. You know, I think consciously, you know, consciously when you know, when I look at, you know, the way I want my life to be, when I look at the way my life is, when I look at the way the people around me, I'm like, yeah, I feel good about, you know, the fact that my diversity is represented in the people around me, and that, you know, that I have kind of like, I have the respect and love of, you know, the people who I respect and love. And it's something that means a lot. Like, you know, just things like when Vince asked me to come and be a part of the New Blurred Order,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, so he might consider me a blurred. That's great. That's great news. One in the column, 1 point in the black column. You know what I mean? Like it's like a house in Hogwarts. You know, that day, you know, black side got 10 points, and I was like, all right, that's great. This feels good. You know what I mean? And
Yo, I listen, man. We got a special guest here, man. We got to give a round of applause. We got a guest, bro.
yes,
Who it is? Yasmin Sinclair. What's going
yeah,
on, Yas the model?
What's up, guys? How are y'all?
It
we're
is
good.
so good to see you. We are so happy to have you here.
I think I'm
Uh,
glitching a little bit. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with my internet right now.
we cannot have you glitching.
Yaz only pays for internet on Saturday mornings. The rest of the week, she just steals it from her neighbor.
No, I think it's because I have so much shit going on my computer, and I tried minimizing it, but it's just like not helping.
There you go. You gave us like a twist or something.
We can hear you perfectly though.
Well,
So
that's
I would
good.
just say like smile a lot so we get stuck on a smile, and then we can just like feel like you're not mad at us. There it is. It was perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Yes.
That is us.
That's that smile
that.
you do when you're 4 years old and your mom tells you to smile in a picture. You're just like,
And you give it a big smile.
Dude,
Yeah.
my mom actually always used to get pissed because she like legit would like always ask the photographer whenever I took a picture to like do whatever they could to make me smile because I have rested bitch face down packed, you know. So yeah.
Yo, yeah, it's just so good to have you here. We was talking about interracial dating and you know what it is, what it's like growing up being light skinned, and being always asked what you are, and what do you identify with, and sometimes feeling like you have to choose at a moment's time in your childhood and your adolescence. Did you ever experience anything like this growing up?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a brown mother and a very Irish stepdad. So I mean, we would the looks my stepdad and I used to get as a kid was very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. And people would always like ask me if he was my dad, and I would proudly just like be like, yeah, that's my dad, and like people would be like, but how, and like so yeah, I did deal with that. I mean, a lot, also, I'm full blown Spanish. I have Taino Indian, and like I have Black descent in me, but what I'm saying, I'm Spanish. You know what I'm saying? So I've always had like people just assume that I'm full blown African American and white, and I'm like, no, I'm actually Hispanic. Like, believe it or not, we're really dark. My grandmother's darker than most Black people. Like, her skin is a different texture, real shit. And they're like, what? How does that happen? I'm just like, different parts of the island, bro. We mix with different people, our cultures. Like we create different things. You know what I'm saying? We're biracial. That's what happens. Like, so it just, I don't know. It's all of my family members are a different color spectrum, so I'm like the lightest one. You know what I mean? So it's definitely been a conversation starter, to say the least.
So yes, when you were coming up, like, did you have like did you identify more with uh the Hispanic community, or did you like identify more with maybe Black kids, white kids, or you know
I just identified with whoever just like didn't give a fuck about my skin color, basically, or like what I was. You know what I'm saying? Like really wasn't like a thing, you know what I'm saying, until like we got older, and then people like kind of made it a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're a kid and your best friend, like, you don't even know, like, you see those cute little videos of like, those interracial little kids, and they're like, he's my best friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're dressed the same and everything, but obviously they're different skin tone. It's like that. I didn't really see that, because in my household, that was like a normal thing, so until it became like an apparent thing, I guess I just was like, I was just a kid. I was whoever I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really identify as anything. I was just Yaz. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a strict, like, oh, are you, like, what are you, until like I got to be like, I guess in like more high school, and then people, like, it became like, what are you mixed with? You know what I'm saying? Because I have nappy ass hair. You know what I mean? But like, I'm still light skinned. So like, I always get asked that question. Like, what are you? You know what I mean?
Now, one of the things that I was thinking about as we were talking about this, me and Tyrone, the other day, is interracial. The word interracial didn't even like really come up until it was to describe a Black and a white relationship. Prior to
Jungle
that,
Fever.
yeah, well, I mean, the Jungle Fever was just a movie, but
No, but
but
I mean, people use that term. I didn't, like, to be honest with you, I didn't even know it was a movie, like, until like someone told me it was recently as an adult, and I was like, it's a movie? What the fuck? And I had to go and like look it up. I still, to this day, believe it or not, have not seen it. I know of it, I just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I didn't even know that was a movie. I like always thought that's like what you referred to as like interracial couple. Like, I just, like, I'm
no,
younger than you guys, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's extremely disrespectful to say somebody's got jungle fever, because
Yeah, it was derogatory
yeah,
for
like
quite a
that,
while.
and like, see, in my household, that was like a normal, thing, because my grandma, she's, like I said, she's got really dark skin. Like, she was so dark, she had like different texture, like, you know what I'm saying, she's like black velvet. Her skin was so like, it was I miss her so much, because like to describe it and to feel it is two different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, her skin texture was just different. And then like my grandfather is like, Tyrone, you got more skin, like, you got more like more pigment in your skin than my grandfather does, like, legit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that light skinned. So, you know what I mean? Like, that just like was a term in my house, like, you know, like, oh, got jungle feet. I don't know. It's just like, you know, it was a term in my house we used like loosely. I didn't realize it was like a derogatory term until I got older. You know what I'm saying? People pointed it out to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, Morris Day and the Time did try to take the power back from that term for a while, and it did result in a very fun song that you can listen to. Good time. But yeah, so you know, it kind of like entered the mainstream as sort of like a ooh, you're being kind of taboo, but it like, you know, it kind of lost some of its power you know, after a little while. But it was definitely meant to be very derogatory towards specifically one part of that you know, that relationship.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that, like whenever I hear the term jungle fever, I'm thinking they talking about the movie, because I mean, because if the whole notion of it is darker skin, uh, and you getting fever from messing with darker skin, well, you just proved that your grandmother has darker skin, and was she raised in the jungle?
No. I mean, like they're both my grandparents are born and raised in Puerto Rico. You know, they're just from two different parts of the island. You know, my grandfather is from San Juan, you know, the major tourist attraction, and then my grandmother, she's from Ponce, where people don't even hardly know where that is from on that island, even though it's part of that island, and it's right near the equator. So the people there are darker because it's right near the equator. You know what I'm saying? They're just naturally they're just all dark. You know what I'm saying? Because they get more sun than everybody else. So
yeah,
just like in my house, I don't know, in my house growing up, you know, like all my friends were all different races, all different colors. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that wasn't an apparent thing until someone made it apparent to me. Like, I didn't see my stepdad as like white, you know what I'm saying? I just saw him as dad, you know, until we went to like monster truck rallies and there was like, you know, racist people, you know, just like wondering why my dad's like holding my hand and like, you know what I'm saying? Like cheer, like, you know, like getting me amped up to see the trucks and stuff. They're like looking at us like super weird, you know what I'm saying? And like just saying dumb comments, you know, it's just like, I didn't realize that was a thing until someone made it a thing. It was normal in my entire life because that's all I knew was interracial couples. That's my life. My grandma, my mom, you know what I'm saying? Like that's our life. You know what I'm saying? We're all colors of the spectrum of the rainbow in our family. So that's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, like, because I know you have what is it, nieces or nephews? I know you have little children.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do you ever see like, and I don't know how old they are, but do you ever see like the little kids still, you know, dealing with these issues of, you know, being told they're not this or they're not that, or, you know, ever coming to you and saying or having these questions about their complexions or anything like that?
I mean, I have a 14-year-old cousin. He's the youngest cousin that we have. All the rest of us are like, you know, we're older now, but I mean, all of us, you know what I'm saying? Like RJ is 14 and he's one of the darkest ones of all of us. Like, I think he is the darkest like skin tone of all of like my family members right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than my grandmother, like he's the darkest one of all of us. And like all his friends are like basically white, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that conversation does pop up a lot with him because, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got different hair than them, you know what I'm saying? He's, you know, like his body structure is completely different than theirs, you know what I'm saying? So like that, I mean, I do like, you know, when I do see him, you know, I overhear some of like what he says. And like, yeah, I mean, like in middle school, like I said, like I didn't see it as an issue until it became an issue. And I didn't start seeing that until it was like middle school to high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that is the same thing, I guess, that like, you know, RJ is starting to see now is like, you know, as he's getting older, you know what I'm saying? People are pointing out like, hey, like you're the black kid. Do you know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, and he's like, well, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, and he's just like, I'm just RJ, you know? And it's like, it's not like it's like a thing, you know what I mean? Like in our household, it's just like normal. We're, like I said, we're all different colors of the rainbow. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like in our household, we're not like talking about it like loosely. It's just like his friends engage in him in those conversations. It's not like we do it in the household. So.
Sorry, but that when he said I'm just RJ, that just reminded me of that. Remember that famous OJ thing where he was like, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." Like, yeah.
Well, RJ,
we are literally one letter away from that same shit. That was hilarious. I couldn't let it go. I had to say it.
That's fucked up. He's 14. Why you gotta hate on him like that?
Oh, I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, like, just make sure he doesn't follow OJ's career
He will
anymore
not
than he
follow
already
OJ.
has.
That kid is so sweet. No, don't you worry about that. No, he's good. He's mama's boy. He's not choking out bitches. Don't worry.
Now, because of your complexion, Yaz, have you ever experienced any like blatant or outright racism due to the fact that you are in an interracial relationship?
Hell yeah, I point out to Austin all the time, and Austin makes a big ass deal about it. Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like I said, interracial love is all I've ever known. So I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, every time I see an interracial couple, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, interracial couples, it's like a thing to be cheered on, because, like, you know what I'm saying, like, we're sharing the culture, you know what I'm saying, like, and it makes me happy that we're sharing the culture, you know what I'm saying, like, and it's a good thing, and like that whole process, I'm not gonna lie, like, what at MegaCon, remember Miss Minutes? Her boyfriend, you know what I'm saying, he was like the white, like Austin, you know what I'm saying, like we're the dark skinned ones dating the white hair, the white dudes with long ass hair, you know what I'm saying, like, it's just like, I was like, yo, that's what's up. I was like, yo, we in the same kind of, I was like, we should connect, like, what's up, you know what I'm saying, like, and like she was like, hell yeah, I have her on Instagram now, you know what I mean, so it's just like, it's a thing to be celebrated. But yeah, I do see a lot of dirty ass looks when Austin and I go out. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I don't stand for it. But at the same time, I'm not just gonna sit there and just be like uncomfortable about it. I'm gonna make the other person more feel uncomfortable. Like Austin and I, and I'll grab his face and just start like licking it or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll make them feel so uncomfortable they walk the fuck away. Like you're uncomfortable with my interracial love. Like, go suck a dick, bro. Fuck you, okay? Not about that shit.
Hey, hey, I was waiting for it to catch up because I knew the energy was all in those words. I was waiting.
Like, fuck that shit, bro. Like, nah, Austin and I we'll make these people, like, we'll act a damn fool in front of these people and like get them something to talk about. No lie, like fuck that shit. Like, you're uncomfortable with it, grow the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? This ain't fucking the 1950s anymore. This is fucking 21st century, dog. Like, wake the fuck up, okay? So yeah.
Yo, Lisa brought up a really good point, and this is what I was kind of speaking to for those little children that are still dealing with this. She's saying she has a niece that's gotten things said to her about her skin tone, and she's in the first grade, and so that means that these kids are starting like really early. You know what I'm saying? What is first grade? That's like 5, 6.
Yeah.
So like they're already experiencing characterization, like they're looking at you by color, determining whether or not they want to. I guess I don't even know what's the point of asking what she is, I guess, by her skin tone, unless you're trying to identify with her. I don't know, or I don't know.
I think kids do get curious. I think they start to notice, like, okay, this is a little bit different. Like, I look a little different, they look a little different. Like, that's interesting. And then there's kind of these different schools of thought. Like, some parents will address it directly and be like, yeah, okay, people come from different parts of the world and they look different because of it, and there's different backgrounds. And as they get older, they teach them, and those kids usually end up pretty well adjusted, I would imagine. Then you have then you have like the school of thought that's like, it's nothing to be concerned about. We're all the same. We're all humans and that kind of thing. And I think that leaves out a lot of nuance, but it's a good general idea of like, we're treat everybody as equals, and don't treat people different because of the way they look. I think somewhere in between the two of those is probably a good way to be. And then there's the parents who are obviously racist, and they're like, yeah, don't play with that kid, you know what I mean? You don't want to talk to you know what I mean? So it's like, we're still all going in very different directions. I think there should be more education around it earlier, so we could just learn about cultures and why we look different and stuff. And once you learn about those things, understand those things, you celebrate those things. Like, oh yeah, like this, we can all celebrate each other instead of fear and hate and those kind of things.
But I mean, I get though, like, the kid being curious, at that young age about, seeing different, colors and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, like I said, like I have tons of kids I've raised, you know what I'm saying? Like white, black, Spanish, whatever, tons of kids I've raised. And at some point, you know what I'm saying, I've had to bathe them, you know what I'm saying? Or they've come in the room, I'm changing or something. They see my skin is different than theirs, or I have, you know what I'm saying, the same body parts are just different colors, you know what I'm saying? And then you gotta have that awkward conversation, you know what I'm saying? Like with the kid, like, well, you know, like we have the same stuff, just different colors, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like that talk. So I mean, it's normal for them to have that curiosity when they see, you know what I'm saying, like someone that has similar features as them, you know what I'm saying, but just looks a completely different color skin. So I get that. But at the same point, like Tyrone's right, you know, like if it's taught, you know what I'm saying, like at home, you know, like at a sooner age, it'd be better. That way there wouldn't be so many kids feeling like, you know, under pressure about, you know, having different skin tones, having different features, you know what I'm saying, like being different.
Mm-hmm. And also, if you don't start those conversations, you know, directly address stuff, what happens is stuff from outside starts to leak in and take the place of those empty spots that would otherwise be filled with, you know, with a better knowledge that you can control. So it's definitely something, you know, that's going to get there one way or the other. So if you don't help, like if you're raising kids, or, you know, if you have people around you that are raising kids, you know, encourage those kind of conversations, because talking to anybody really at this point, because if you don't, they're going to learn something from somebody, and it might be the wrong person.
Most
it might
of
be
these
the
kids
wrong
learn
time.
things from the internet now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Tyrone.
It's scary as hell.
Yeah, having those conversations early actually could be beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the earlier the better. Like, so if your niece is experiencing this now, because Lisa did say, unfortunately, you know, she had both inquisitive remarks and derogatory. So, you know, the kids were being, you know, they were curious and also a little hateful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but to have that conversation now, rather than later, and get her experience in how to deal with those things, can only benefit her in the long run, and make sure that she doesn't, you know, allow a few bad apples to spoil the bunch, because everybody is their own individual. Just because one individual has a certain way of thinking doesn't represent a whole group of people. Because I noticed that a lot of people's experiences through life cause them to be willing to write off a complete race of people for one particular person's action, like they were the representative of that entire nation of people. So that's a little bit too much. So just be careful when you're teaching your children uh, to respond to these things. Make sure they understand that it's each individual's own choice to be a certain way.
That's perfect. And to
make good and bad choices.
Exactly. And to expand on that a little bit, Lisa, with the situation with your niece, the more you know, the more she's taught by her parents and by her family, that the hate, any kind of hate that she gets, is not her problem or her fault. It is somebody else's problem, somebody else's fault. You teach her to love herself, and it will help her to not internalize the hatred that comes from other people. Because I think that's something that does happen, you know, when kids are growing up. If they do get certain kinds of hate, then without explanation and without any kind of way to deal with it, they start to turn it inside, and they're like, why am I like this? You know, why do I look like this? Why do I sound like this? You know, that sort of thing. So you can stop that from being a thing. The more you talk and the more it's open and stuff like that, you know, it's a shame that it has to be the case. You know, no 5-year-old kid should have to, you know, really concentrate on dealing with those kinds of issues. But unfortunately, the world that we live in, you know, puts us in a position where the best equipped people who are equipped with the best knowledge are going to be the ones that do the best.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense, Tyrone. Now, Yaz, before we get out of here, because I you know, I brought you here because you know, not just because you're one of my best friends, but because you're a woman. You know, and your perspective from a woman's standpoint is always respected and much needed, because you give it to us blood raw. You know, you do not spare us at all. So as a woman of color, um, when you were growing up, I already know the answer to this, but when you were growing up and being a woman that identified as Hispanic, um, did you ever feel as though when you were growing up that the person you date would be like subjected to things because they date you?
No, I mean it wasn't like I said, it wasn't like a apparent thing until like I got older, you know, and I started realizing, you know, like you it's funny when you sit back and like realize your surroundings, you know what I'm saying? You never know who the fuck is watching you. And I always am very aware of my surroundings, and especially when I'm with Austin and we're on a date or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because I have tend to notice things that, you know, most people would not notice. And that's I feel like I never understood before what I guess was getting myself and my partner into. You know what I'm saying? When I started my my relationship, you know, my engagement, and it's I mean I'm more than happy, like, you know, to continue on my relationship without having any, you know, insecurities. But it's just, you know, it's crazy to think that because other people were raised a certain kind of way, you know what I'm saying, they're going to feel a certain type of way about my love for my fiance. You know what I'm saying? And they don't even know me. They have no idea who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like they could respect the hell out of me. You know, they could hate me, whatever. They don't even know me. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like already judging me because they see me with my fiance and we're two different colors. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've definitely dealt with that a lot. You know, I'm very old school raised, so I see a lot of shit that I wouldn't normally like observe. You know, and I always catch people like giving us like them dirty ass looks, and I'll like wave at them and shit. You know, and like give Austin a kiss right in front of them, and then like wave at them. Yeah, I'm a dick. You know, and I feel like if you're boss enough to stare at me while, you know, and like giving me a dirty ass look, then you're gonna be boss enough to take my fucking harshness when I like give it back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Let me ask you,
Do you find that comes from like all of like, does that come from like all different you know,
spectrums.
ethnicities, or does it primarily come from white people?
It's mostly white people that I've noticed, and like a lot of white old ladies too. Like, it's really fucking funny. Like elder women, you know, like women like my mom's age and grandma status, like legit just like older grandma, just like get like, I don't know what the fuck it is that we'd like. And it's not like we're disrespectful. Like Austin will come up and like smack my ass or something, you know, like put his arms around me, you know. I'm like, I'll like turn around and like look at this old lady just give me this dirty ass look, and I'm just like, bitch, you had that done once in your life. Why the fuck are you being a hypocrite? You know what I'm saying? Because he's white. If he was a black dude, would you be smiling right now? Like, the fuck?
I mean, maybe
And,
she.
like,
I mean, go ahead, Tyrone, 'cause I know
believe
you're
it or
probably
not,
gonna say the same thing I was gonna say.
it's white elder women and black dudes that give us the dirty ass looks. And they're not giving me dirty ass looks like the black dudes. They're giving Austin the dirty ass looks. Like, what the fuck, nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I'll get them like, how are you with this like white dude? Like I'll get these blatant fucking looks. It's really funny too, because like when the dudes give it to me, oh, I'm worse than the women. Like, oh man, nah. Like I'll be copping a field, you know, sticking my hands in the pans. Like, yeah, no, don't be fucking with me, dog. Like, that is my man, okay? Like,
I love how Yaz is out there fighting racism with exhibition.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
listen,
I hope nobody
Austin,
starts dropping crazy stuff, because there's gonna be fucking in the streets to get under people's skin.
for real, dog. I'll be pulling a Spidey and Mr. Spidey all day in New York Times. What's up, my nigga? Like, grinding, okay? Straight up.
Yo, you a trip, girl. But I knew if I asked, I would get the answer, man. But I think that old lady might have just been like, just like, she's not used to seeing people get
Well,
their
she can
ass.
fuck right
Yeah.
off. That's
She
not
was
my
like, that
problem.
wasn't just a tap. Like, there were like 4 fingers in there.
Nah. See, definitely not. Y'all doing a little extra. No fingers in the booty, okay? That's some nasty shit. No.
I mean, I say in the booty. I was just like in there, just maybe crack or something. But you know.
No.
Let me ask you a real question, a serious question though.
What's up?
Have you ever had to, in whether it's, and if you're not comfortable enough to talk about that, that's totally fine. But like, have you ever, with Austin or in any of your history, had to directly deal with somebody saying, "I think this is wrong. I don't think you two should be together," because of
Yes.
racial reasons?
Yes, for sure. This dude I dated back in high school, he was part of his redneck clan, and my best friend, and like my best friend at the time, she was like really redneck, and she was dating this redneck dude. And oh my God, man, him and his friends would just give me like fucking hell all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because like I date white people. You know what I'm saying? They would always like in high school, they would always get on me. So I just decided like back then, you know, like because I had that certain crowd around me that I just would keep to myself if I was dating somebody. You know what I'm saying? Just so I didn't have to hear the bullshit because it was just like always like, oh, you're ruining our races by commingling and you're corrupting us. And like, you know, it just was just like a bunch of dumb shit. You know what I'm saying?
So these were correct. Sorry, these were your friends in your circle saying
these
this.
These were my old best friends, like friends, basically. And to be honest with you, I still am, and I still keep contact with one of them because he was like, you know what I'm saying? He obviously he realized it was pure stupidity while, you know what I'm
That's
saying,
good.
he was following the others. But like, you know, he's repent, you know what I'm saying, and he's asked me for forgiveness and everything, and like we still are friends, and he's pro redneck, like straight up. He's like super redneck. His house is like dead deer and shit inside of it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's super rednecky, and like he looks like a lumberjack, legit. Got the long ass beard. Like in high school, he used to drive around in a giant fucking lifted truck with a red, like two big ass rebel flags hanging out the back of his fucking truck, bro. Like, and I would never ever ride in that truck. I'd be like, nah, I'd rather walk than be seen in that fucking truck.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, like straight up. But now, like, you know, he's I'm just saying, like, I'd rather walk than to be hanging out with all them and their fucking, you know, rebel flag craziness. But it's whatever, you know, like he repented, and we're still cool friends. And like, you know, like he's one of the people I can actually say, like, you know what I'm saying, like in his adulthood, he grew out of his stupidity, which is like a rare thing. So I felt like I should still be his friend. Like I'm not even friends with that girl anymore. Like we fell off like hardcore because she just like got way too into that shit. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like I stayed your friend past the point. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of maturity. You just have to grow out of that shit.
Wow. Yes. Thank you again for coming through.
You're welcome.
And talking about this with us. We definitely always appreciate you stopping through, and I want you to come through more. I know your schedule is hectic, you know, and I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and tell people why it's so hectic, because you have been busy, young lady, and I want you to go ahead and let everybody know where they can get at you, what you got going on, the websites, the merch.
I got you.
Give it to them and give it to them raw. Go ahead.
All right, y'all. Well, if you haven't known, I am one of the cast members off the New Blurred Order. I am head of merchandise of the New Blurred Order. So that means look out, because at the end of this weekend and the beginning of next week, there will be a link for you to actually purchase New Blurred Order official merchandise. So by all means, support your fellow blurs and your fellow Black businesses, and yeah, let's get it. I've been hella busy. We went to MegaCon and had our first pop-up shop before the store launch, and it was amazing. So I can't wait to share with you guys what I shared with some of the people at MegaCon. So yeah, Yaz is going to be up and popping and busy. My office is ready to be pumping out merchandise. We got all the things, so check us out. There'll be a link available on all our social medias, like I said, by the end of the weekend.
So the website will be up by the end of the weekend.
Yep, should be finalized. But trust me, I made sure of it. So
hey,
you know me.
What I'm talking about, Tyrone. What it do? Yeah. Tell them what it is.
I'll be on that New Blurred Order with Yaz every weekend, 9 a.m. And this Saturday, especially, I think is going to be really fun, because I'm sure we're going to really dive deep into our experience at MegaCon and talk about that, and you know, just all the fun that we had and all the people that we met and stuff. I can't wait to really get back into that and jump in and talk about it. Obviously, 630s right here on MulTYversed. You can check it out, and yeah, you can follow me on all social media at Tyrone Thornhill. And looking forward to the next time we meet and the next time we talk.
Yo, man, that's dope, man. And listen, man, I'm a little short for words today, y'all. So I'm gonna let Bernie talk to y'all, and then we gonna get out of here, man.
Boy, just be yourself. If people don't like you if you're being yourself, fuck them. Let me tell you something. I used to go with a girl, man, about your age. I tried to please her peppy all the time. Went out my way to please her peppy. I come in one day, I said, nice weather we have. Said, you can't say that. You can't say that, it might rain. I said, nice tie you got on. Said, you can't say that. My wife tried to choke me with it. Point I'm trying to tell you, son, is be yourself. People don't like how you be yourself. Fuck them. Fuck them up against the wall. Wear handcuffs on and crazy through on their lips. That's all you do.
Words to live by.
You live by them, son.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the club now, Uncle Vester, and just go.
You go on and enjoy yourself, boy.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say when it comes to interracial dating. Most things in life, if they don't like it, fuck them.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean, like you're here to live your life, and when
And
you
just-
go, you're going by yourself. You came by yourself, you're gonna leave by yourself. Guess whose opinion matters the most? All right. Until next week, y'all. And hey, thanks to everybody in the chat. Lisa, James, Amy, all the people that came through to show some love. Make sure you like, share, comment. Go check us out on YouTube, on our YouTube page. Please make sure you go and subscribe, follow that, and definitely come through on Saturday morning, New Blurred Order, 9 a.m. Me, Tyrone, Vince, and Yaz, and we are out, multiverse style. Peace.